Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Well, good Thursday evening to you. We're chilling with Larry Megan on a Thursday night. You know, first, welcome to everybody who's never been to Acorn TV before. But, you know, we weren't expecting to do a show this week. This was kind of a last-minute decision to even do one because, you know, I thought I was going to be going to Basel, Switzerland for the big Basel World Watch Fair. And, of course, it started today. And, you know, in some ways I kind of miss it, you know, the excitement of Basel World. In other ways, I'm very happy I didn't go because I would have been a nervous wreck being away from here for 5 or 6 days, you know. So in the final analysis, there was a lot of things going on for me here locally, and I think Sterling Original, the company, will survive without me, you know, for a few days. But anyway, so we weren't going to do a show. So at the last minute, we said, well, I'm here. Let's go ahead and let's do one. So tonight, I want to open it up to everybody out there. You want to call in. We want to take your calls. If you got video Skype, you know, please Skype in. Also, I've lined up an old friend to be a guest tonight. He's going to Skype in by video Skype from Los Angeles. My old friend Clarke Wilson, who's now a financial advisor. He's been in the financial world for many, many years. And it'll be good to catch up with Clarke, and we're going to bring him in a little bit later. If you have any issues or questions about the financial markets and the state of what's happening in our economy and the country, you know, Clarke he's helped thousands and thousands of people, and we're going to talk to Clarke about that. Now, if you're new to Acorn TV and Chilling with Larry Megan, you know, please click on the Facebook button over here on the right hand side of the page, and like our Facebook fan page. And we will have we've got Stacia and Maddie out there monitoring the Facebook page and the telephone. So, you know, if you have any questions, go ahead, type them in on the Facebook fan page, and we'll try to answer your questions. And, you know, like I say, also, you know, if you haven't liked it before, please do, because we do put out show alerts and let people know when our shows are coming up and everything. Now, tonight, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, the singing competitions. A lot of you know I love these singing competitions, and I take a lot of ribbing about that from people who I know. They think that, you know, it's for little kids and things like that, but I can't help it. Maybe it's one of those guilty pleasures. They're laughing at me already, but, you know, maybe it's just a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't know. Maybe it's because I never could sing and I always wished that I could sing. But I think my new one now that I'm really onto now is The Voice. I watched it all last season in the first season. I love the fact that they've got Christina Aguilera in the show. She's definitely, you know, one of my favorites. And I've really grown to like Blake Shelton and Adam Levine, and of course CeeLo. He adds a lot to that show. So I'm really into The Voice. American Idol was a close call tonight. We had it on here in the studio. We were watching it before the show, and you know, if you're out there on the West Coast and you're watching it now and you've got Me Too for any, you might want to shut your ears for a minute, because tonight they kicked off Jeremy Rosado. And in a way, I was very glad. Nothing against Jeremy. I hated to see him go. He was a really nice kid. But it came down to him and Shannon McGrain. And Shannon McGrain definitely deserved to be in that spot because she was horrible last night. I wouldn't say horrible, but she was one of the weaker ones last night. But I really believe Shannon McGrain can win this thing, although Jessica Sanchez is incredible. And so I didn't want to see Shannon go because of one bad performance. And that's really her only, you know, bump in the road. She did lay an egg last night. So she did survive. And I thought for sure they were going to send her home when it came down to Jeremy and Shannon, because if you've been watching this show, you might know that Jennifer Lopez loves this big kid. She loves Jeremy. And I thought once it came down to those two, she was going to fight like heck with Randy and Steven to keep him. But in the end, she let him go, and she was the one who delivered the news. It came down to Shannon was let off the hook just moments before, and it came down to Elise, another one of my favorites, and Jeremy. And she said, we're going to save Elise tonight. And that was kind of a shock, although that did even the playing field with 6 guys and 6 girls. So maybe it was destined to go, 50-50 with the boys and girls. And I think from here on out now, it's just going to be the old-fashioned way where it's the bottom 3 and then, just whoever has the least votes is going to go off the show unless they do this judge thing every week, which I don't think they're going to do that. So I'm really into these two shows. And this week on The Voice, they started their battle rounds, which is an interesting part of the show because there's really no other singing competition where they actually do this, where they put, two singers on the stage going head to head, singing the same song in a duet. And one of them is going to get let go by their mentor and by their own coach. And it gets a little bit nerve-wracking. It gets a little bit hairy sometimes because really this week they showed 6 of these battle rounds, which I thought that was interesting in of itself because the show was a 2-hour show. In 2 hours, they showed six songs, which means only 3 songs per hour. So each battle round is taking an average of 20 minutes. I think they're really dragging it out. I love the show, but come on, man, they could have done at least 8 in the 2 hours and we would only have to go through 3 weeks of battle rounds instead of now 6 per show means we've got to go through 4 weeks of this before we get to the live shows. But it is interesting. They show the contestants, rehearsing and with the judges, with the coaches and the mentors, and they bring in assistant coaches, and they had a lot of people in there that were just fantastic, like Alanis Morissette, and Kelly Clarkson was a guest mentor and everything. So it is interesting. And then they, give the big build up, and then they go to the actual battle round. And for me, there were 2 this week that were a standout. But before I get to those 2, that was Angie Johnson and Cheesa was one, and the other one was was Anthony Johnson and Jesse Evans, Anthony Evans and Jesse on Christina's team, and that was spectacular. But one of the interesting things I thought was on Blake Shelton's team, he had a battle between Jordis and another individual on the team. I think his name was Rick, and they were like his 2 rock singers. And, of course, I think you all know if you watch my show regularly, I love this girl, Jordis. That is my girl right there. And I featured her last week here on Chillin' with Larry Megan, and I'm pulling for her to win the whole thing. And I thought it would be a slam dunk that she was going to win her battle round. But the reality is she went out there, and for whatever reason, with as much experience as she has, she was nervous. I mean, Jordis was very nervous. Her nerves got to her, and she stunk the place up. I mean, she was screaming the whole time. It was horrible. And I fully expected. The other kid, Rick, actually sang pretty nice. And I thought, oh my God, she's going to get kicked out before we even get to the live shows. And for whatever reason, Blake, I think he just knew that, hey, she had a bad performance and the nerves got to her. And Blake, like the father type that he is, and we saw it last year, when he had Dia Frampton and was it Xenia, I think it was Xenia, and he just protected those 2 little girls. He did it again this week, and he really protected Jordis because he would not have been, out of place had he sent her home, but he didn't. Even though she didn't do well, he kept her and he sent the other kid home, and I think he did so knowing that Jordis was much better than she performed. So she kind of got lucky. She came off the stage, and right away they have the interviewer there with the cameras in her face, and she said, oh, my God, I thought I was going home. That was a train wreck out there, and she knew it. So she got a reprieve. She got a second life, and I think if she goes far in the live shows, it's thank goodness for Blake. Although, to tell you the truth, I got to say this. Her choice of Blake, and I love Blake Shelton, but Christina was practically begging Jordis to come on her team. She was saying, please, and everything. She was sitting there with her hands in the air, and she wanted Jordis really bad. And Jordis, I think, is the kind of singer with the kind of voice that really would have done well with Christina. But Blake was the first one to turn around, so she went with Blake. And, of course, he's a great artist, but he's a country singer. And he brought in his wife, Miranda Lambert, to actually coach Jordis. And maybe that's what all got inside of her head, because Jordis is a real hard rocker. And like I said, she laid an egg this week. So we'll see what happens on that one. But I do want to show one of the battle rounds that I thought was interesting, and that was on Team CeeLo. It was Angie Johnson against Cheesa. And I'm a big fan of this girl, Angie Johnson. And, well, I'll let you watch it, but it didn't work out her way. I really felt that, CeeLo went the wrong way, but here it is. Let's check this out. This is going to be Angie Johnson and Cheesa. Do you have the right one?
Should be.
Let me see here. Hold on. What do you have there as number one?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, no, I see. Number one, we have the Anthony Evans one. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's do that first.
Right.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ronnie, for pointing that out to me. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you which really was what they call, at least on American Idol, they call it the pimp spot. The pimp spot is the last performance of the evening in these shows. And this one was Team Christina, and it was Anthony Evans and Jesse. And, man, it was a close call, and Christina had to make the call. I wish she would have picked the other guy, but she probably went with the better singer. But check this out. This was quite a performance.
Oh, yeah. Some people live for the fortune. Some people live just for the fame. Some people live for the power. Yeah. Some people live just to play the game. Some people think that the physical things define what's within. And I've been there before, but that life's a bore, so full of the superficial. Yeah. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you. Hand me the world on a silver platter, and what good would it be with no one to share, with no one who truly cares for me? Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if it ain't you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you.
Anthony, Jesse, in a heavyweight battle. A battle of epic proportions. Christina, there's not a...
I mean, how do you choose? The smaller guy, Jesse, he might have been a little bit more polished, experienced singer. And that's one of the things I like about this show, The Voice. Most of these people have, been singing in clubs and pretty polished, fairly experienced. There are some that are fairly inexperienced, but most of them have been kicking around for a long time. And I think Jesse had just more experience, a little bit more polished. But the big guy, Anthony, he's a pastor's son, and he sings in church all the time. And when he kind of doubled over there and hit that high note at the end, man, that was pretty tough. Anyway, Christina went with Jesse, and Anthony got sent home. And that to me was probably the performance of the night right there. Everybody was raving about it. I think it's received, I don't know how many hits. In fact, it's interesting on YouTube, on the Voice YouTube channel. It received a whole bunch of hits, like over 300,000 just like in the first few hours. and then for whatever reason they took it down. So that's the only one that got taken down too. So I don't know what's going on with that one, but it was receiving a heck of a lot of hits. I'm sure it would have been over 1 million hits by now. But in any case, as I said, to me, the discouraging battle for me on that show was the one for Team CeeLo, because I really like this girl, Angie Johnson. I'm going to let you check this out. This was the battle between Angie Johnson and Cheesa for Team CeeLo. Another close call, another tough one, but definitely one of the highlights of the evening. Check this out.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming round. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around. Eclipse of the heart. Once upon a time there was light in my life. Now there's only love in the dark. There's nothing I can say. A total eclipse of the heart. A total eclipse of the heart.
That was a battle. We'll get some thoughts from the captain in a minute. Adam?
So both of your credits, in the beginning, it was a little shaky because I feel like you guys were nervous, and you shook that off right away, and you were both really powerful. It's like weird how these go down, because in the beginning I might have thought, oh, Cheesa, but then Angie, you came and made me kind of rethink it again. So I was confused because you were both so great at different times. There is no loser here, but I would probably, yeah. I think maybe I'd pick, I don't know, Cheesa, maybe?
Blake.
Both of you had your really good moments and your average moments. Neither one of you had a bad moment at all there, which is rare in these things. With me, it's going to come down to just clarity and diction, and I'd probably go with Angie just because of that.
So. Christina?
You know, I thought this was a great match. It was a really good pair-up. Cheesa, you have a really powerful voice. It's got a lot of depth to it. And I thought I was a little more swayed also in the beginning. But then Angie came along and you were hitting some of those notes that I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know she could do all that. And I know I'm not the final decision in this, but I think the fact that probably you got better as it went along, I'd say Angie.
Thank you, Christina. CeeLo, we'll get your final decision in a second. First, some general thoughts on that battle.
First of all, let me begin by saying I'm very proud of you both. I feel like a proud father up here, and then I'm in awe of both of you guys. Very natural ability, and they really felt like a real battle. And I did see that type of angst amongst you, and that's the type of attitude it's going to take to really sing the song. I thought you both did a good job at that. Angie, I felt like the emotion was there. I felt like the connection to the song was there, but I thought Cheesa had the articulation.
Who's the winner of this battle?
I really don't want to have to do this, but today the winner of this battle round is Cheesa.
Well, there goes my girl Angie. She's done. First of all, I love CeeLo Green on this show. He adds so much to this show. He did a great job with these two girls, but I don't know. I just thought Angie was a better singer, had more range, and also I really liked her story too. I think if you're watching this show, if you're into these shows, you probably know her story. In case you don't know her story, what the Voice does that's different. With American Idol and the X Factor, they hold open auditions all over the country. With The Voice, I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but I know they scout for talent and they invite singers to come to the show. And this girl, Angie Johnson, she got a very well-deserved invitation to this show because she posted last August, so that was only maybe 6 months ago, she posted on the internet. And actually, when they made the invitation, it was probably, like November or something. So it was only a few months. But she posted on the internet a video of her singing, and it just went viral. And I think she's over 3 million hits now, or close to 3 million views on YouTube on her video. And it got like 1 million just like that. I remember somebody doing a post on Facebook about it, and then I clicked on it. I saw her months ago. And then she ends up on The Voice because, like I say, anything that goes viral like that and all of a sudden it's being spread all over the place, it caught the attention of the producers of The Voice, and they invited her to be on the show. She's in the Air Force. And, actually, Ronnie, I did pull it just in case. Let's see here. I know we have Clarke standing by in about 8 to 10 minutes. Rather than show 2 clips from American Idol, maybe what we'll do, I'll show this clip, her viral video on YouTube, and then we'll just only show 1 clip from American Idol. Okay? It says Angie Johnson. So here's what it is. She's in the Air Force. She's practicing, and they're doing just a impromptu video. It's not even a rehearsed thing. And like I said, it just went viral on the internet. This is Angie Johnson, and this is what got her invited to be on The Voice, and I think she should still be on The Voice, but she's gone. But check this out. like I said, maybe you've seen that before. That's that viral video of Angie Johnson with the U.S. military, with the Air Force. And if for no other reason, I think CeeLo should have kept her just for that. I mean, I think she outsung Cheesa anyway, but she has a huge following in the military and so many other millions of fans. I mean, she had a huge fan base. And when they got to the live shows, that definitely would have kicked in and helped her, if for no other reason. But anyway, she's gone, and she sure looked different, all dressed up in her dress, performing than she did right there in her fatigues. But anyway, so The Voice is getting interesting. We've got 3 more weeks of the battle rounds there, and that's going to be interesting as we whittle it down there. Tonight on American Idol, as I mentioned, Jeremy Rosado got sent home. And there was a couple of videos I was going to show, but we'll just show one. We're getting close to our guest now. But my girl, Shannon McGrain, she did not do well last night. I thought that Erica Van Pelt did an incredible job last night. She actually got really my attention finally, and I'm a big fan of hers now. But the one who stole the night for me was definitely Jessica Sanchez. The girls were singing. If you're not really watching the show or following, last night they're in the top 13. They have 6 girls, 7 guys. The guys all had to sing Stevie Wonder songs. The girls all had to sing Whitney Houston songs. Of course, typically, you never want to sing Whitney Houston because it exposes everybody. But that's what they had to do, and their guest mentor was Mary J. Blige, with Jimmy Iovine coaching them. And Mary J. Blige did an incredible job with all these kids. She was phenomenal. But here was the performance of the night, without a doubt. Jessica Sanchez, check it out.
One of her biggest hits.
Okay, right there. That's a little too much vibrato.
Mm-hmm. When you do the end I, right, it's so perfect. I just want you to take your time.
Okay.
And I, you know how you hold it?
Yeah.
But just stay on it.
Okay.
And then catch it. Then catch it again, but
okay.
Let's try that.
Take it right at the chorus, all right?
And I will always love you.
Okay. Whitney Houston was an extraordinary woman. Jessica just does that song justice. It was Whitney's biggest song. She just nailed it.
Amazing, impeccable, wow.
Great job.
If I should stay, I would only be in your way. And
say this. Give it all to her. Give it all to her. Yo, Jessica Sanchez is legit. Yo, let me tell you something, man. This is one of the hardest songs in the world to sing. You not only are the best vocal of the night, I think you're one of the best singers in this whole competition. Oh my God. This is what it's really all about. Finding the best talent in America. In America, this is one of the best talents in the whole country. Yo, crazy.
Just amazing. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. When you did those last three little things and we were right there with you, and I think you were even surprised at yourself. You're like, oh my God. That's how I felt with you. I was like, oh my God, yes. It was beautiful, Jessica.
Thank you so
You're
much.
so talented. God bless you.
Jessica, you may be the one. You just made 40 million people cry.
Jessica Sanchez, come here. I think let's go back to that incredible mood. Can we dim the lights?
Well, there it was. I think she stole the show. It was pretty awesome. And now we're getting into the real meat of the show. You got the top 12 moving forward, and she's definitely the one to beat. All right, I've got my friend standing by, Clarke Wilson, and I'm excited to catch up with Clarke for sure, because it's been a long time, since we've actually spent any time together. We go back to the mid-'90s, and I've even got a couple of old pictures. But here he is, with a little help from my friends, Clarke Wilson. Hey, Clarke, can you hear the music?
Yeah, I can hear it fine, thanks.
Well, I decided, what am I going to play for Clarke? And I know that you like, the Moody Blues.
Yeah.
But, and I was tempted to play that for you, but I played with a little help from my friends, because you really are helping me out this week, Clarke, because we weren't planning to do a show this week. And, so I don't have Barbara here for the Classic Film Zone. We only 2 days ago decided, all right, we're going to go ahead and do the show, because I canceled my trip to Basel. And I decided, well, I'm here. Why not do a show? And I could have just sat it out. And I said, all right, now we need a guest. And, spoke to Candace, and she mentioned you. I said, yeah, I would love to have Clarke on the show. And I want to thank you for stepping up to the plate, man, on short notice.
That's what we do.
Okay. And I see you've got a similar background. I recognize that background there.
Yeah, I'm at Candace's house.
Yeah, I understand that.
And she was all set up, so I wanted to come on over here, see her, and sit down and know that I could actually get on the show.
That's really cool, Clarke. I know your office is not too far from her place, right?
No, it's not. It's about, this is Los Angeles, and it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's unusual. Because in L.A., people will drive 50 miles just to go to lunch, right? It's true.
Yeah, that's absolutely
They drive
true.
40, 50 miles for a haircut, That's it's crazy.
Right.
That's one of the things I guess I should say, one of the things I don't miss about L.A. is the traffic. But anyway, Clarke, I know you've spent so many years, in the financial world, but it always kind of struck me as odd because, when I met you, I met you in a little different capacity and everything. And you were, an on-air guy, a comedian, and all that kind of stuff. But were you always doing that I just didn't know about? Clarke, can you hear me?
Oh, you mean the financial stuff?
Yeah, I mean, maybe was that
Yeah,
always...
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, was that always going on and maybe I just didn't know about that part of your life or what?
Well, I'd always been interested. I mean, I wanted the Holy Grail ever since I was young. And the Holy Grail, of course, is that my money goes out there and does all the work, and I can sit on the beach and suck mint juleps and make money, so that I could go do the things that I wanted to do. Okay, and so the idea behind doing the investment stuff was to see to it that I could take care of myself in my old age, but really to retire early. Now, the best laid plans of mice and men. That really didn't happen. You know, I got married and all of that other kind of stuff. But I bought my first stock when I was in my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to make money in that way. And I had done a show. I had done, let's see, I was like 17. No, I must have been 18 or 19 years old. And in Moline, Illinois, where I grew up, and I was in Inherit the Wind. And there was a guy who was the lead in Inherit the Wind, and he was a trader. And that's how he made his living. He made his living trading commodities. And I thought that was just fantastic because he only worked 3 hours a day, and he could, do anything he wanted to, like star in a production. So I thought that was pretty good, and so I always wanted to do that. And the other thing was, back in the olden days, and I mean really olden days, in the 1970s and early 1980s, right up until 1987, I was in the movie business.
Distribution, right?
Pardon me?
That was in distribution, wasn't it?
Yes, I was a movie distributor. And I had the greatest motion pictures on this or any other planet. Grave of the Vampire, Garden of the Dead, The Thirsty Dead, Beyond the Living Dead, The Hills Have Eyes 1, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 1, Astros, Zombies, Funeral for an Assassin with Vic Morrow. I had Sabra with David Jansen. I had some wonderful, wonderful motion pictures. And by the way, I still own Beyond the Living Dead, and I'm willing to sell it to you very cheap with worldwide rights.
Well, let me tell you this, Clarke. First of all, you couldn't pay me to watch those movies because... you're talking to a guy who, I watched Judy Garland. Funny thing is, I just went to the movies with a friend of mine last weekend, just a few days ago.
Uh-huh.
And it was a couple guys, and so he says, hey, you're not doing anything, come join us. And I said, sure. I wanted to get out of the house. I didn't bother to ask them what they were going to watch. And, Candace knows me fairly well, and she knows, I don't go for scary movies, bloody butchery things or whatever. And anyway, in this movie, there must have been no less than 50 guys that got shot in the head. And, I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, no. And every guy's getting his brains blown out, and it's pretty graphic. And, then the lights come on, and the three guys I was with, hey, how'd you like it? And I said, it was okay, but I mean, it's just not, again, I watched, Gene Kelly and, Judy Garland and Betty Davis and Cary Grant. This one was, but I had a good time. We went to dinner afterwards, and I haven't slept since. But but I'm just saying. These movies that you're talking about, all these science fiction movies and things like that, just kind of not my thing. But
that's okay, because what they're for is for me to make money.
That's right, and the stuff I'm
Other
into.
people wanted them.
There's more people into the stuff that you're into than is into the stuff that I'm into.
Well, actually, that's the only thing we could get at the time. See, back when I started, there was only 35 millimeter film. And this is just at the time when 3/4-inch videotape was coming in, okay? And we didn't have beta, we didn't have VHS. All we had was film, and we played these things off in a theatrical release.
Right.
And on the theatrical release, we would play Grave of the Vampire, Garden of the Dead, and The Thirsty Dead on a triple bill at a drive-in, and we could make money. So I was there during the transition from just film to film and video, because at the time you could not buy a major motion picture on videotape. Okay, you could the only kind of pictures you could buy were my kind of pictures and porno. Okay, so my kind of pictures and porno sold a lot of machines. Yeah. And you won't believe this, but we put terrible, terrible movies in really beautiful boxes, and we sold them. Are you ready for this? $89.95 a piece to buy one movie on one videotape. Can you believe that?
Well, it's unbelievable when you stop and really consider that, $90 back in, let's say what, the 1970s is probably equal to, $200 today at least.
Yeah. Oh, at least. At least.
Listen, Clarke, let me ask you a favor here, because I know when we had the practice hookup going, we asked you to kind of back up from the camera a little bit because we wanted room for the graphics, but now we're getting a little out of focus. So I'd rather say forget the graphics and get a nice, better picture of you. So if you come back in just a little bit, that's good right there. Thanks, Clarke. I hate to direct like this from, over the air like that, but hey, it is what it is. You're in LA and I'm in Minneapolis. So
Okay.
it is, but much better now. Yeah, thanks, Clarke.
Sure.
So we just won't be able to. Actually, we probably have a little room for graphics, Ronnie. Thank you. But anyway, going back to you're kind of like me in some ways, Clarke, because I've done a million different things also, and you've done a lot of different things too. Maybe we're just not the most stable guys in the world. I don't know.
Well, the one thing that's for sure is I cannot hold down a job.
Well, me and you both. I think I've set a record now with my current job. I've been there 7.5 years. I don't remember ever being with one company that long. So.
Yeah,
that's me knocking on wood. That's me knocking on wood, by the way. Nowadays, you don't give up jobs so easily, as you know, especially at our age, Yeah. But anyway, going back to this financials thing here, I was looking at some of the links that we got on you and the videos and so forth. I mean, you must have 1,000 videos online with all these financial advisor things. I pulled one of them up. I mean, obviously, we're not going to sit here and go through, several hours of video, but I pulled one up that I thought was pretty interesting about this this easy, quick. I mean, are you still doing that one too? Because that might have been an older one. This where let me see what it is. It's where you're telling business merchants, that the customers, because of the situation of our economy, we can't get as much credit. Now, this was your own website, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
It's my website, my video, my face.
All right, let's take a quick look at this, and then I'll have you explain, okay?
Sure.
So check this out, everybody.
I'm Clarke Wilson. I'm President and CEO of Easy Quick Funding, and I'm here to talk to you today about a pretty serious subject, which is the economic activity in the United States of America. It's not going to be a really fun discussion. The book here is called Aftershock, and it's written by Dr. David Wiedemer and his brother Robert Wiedemer. And they correctly have identified all of the macroeconomic trends in the United States in the last 15 years. They predicted the dot-bomb meltdown, and they also predicted the real estate bubble. They have also predicted other bubbles too. We have the currency bubble yet to go, and we have the government debt bubble yet to go. On the government debt bubble, the ratio that nobody's looking at these days is as follows. It is 300% expenses to revenues in Greece, 248% expenses to revenues in Ireland, and the United States is, are you ready for this, 350% expenditures to revenues in the United States of America. So actually, we are in that ratio worse off than Greece. Well, we got a printing press and we're number one in the world, so that helps. But anyway, my point here is that on the macroeconomic scale, credit is going to be tightened in the future. It's already been tightened. We've already seen, if you've looked at the other video, and if you've seen the tremendous decline in available credit for consumers, and consumers account for 70% of the economic activity in the United States of America. So with credit declining, we have fewer and fewer and fewer people with the ability to buy anything, because most things are done on credit. Okay, so what's going to happen in the future is the number of people who are going to have the ability to pay on credit is going to go down and down and down and down and down and down and down. And these are people who would normally be your customers, who may not be your customers anymore if you only take people who have credit, because they will be unable to pay. And this is actually the reason. This is my reasoning behind starting Easy Quick Funding. We must give merchants a way to provide their customers with the ability to pay. That's why Easy Quick Funding exists. Because no matter if there's a Republican president or a Democrat president in 2012, the problem is going to persist because it's so bad already, okay? So if you're a merchant in any of the businesses that Easy Quick Funding can support, I would really, really, really urge you to take a look at Easy Quick Funding and add it to your business, because you need to provide your customers and your potential customers and people whose names you don't know yet who will be your customers with the ability to buy. If you're the merchant who's doing that, then you have a captive customer for life, because they stay with the people who give them the ability to buy. That's why you may have noticed many years ago, credit card companies were on college campuses handing out credit cards to freshmen who would sign up for them, and they'd give them a great big thing of M&Ms. Well, the reason they did that was because those kids who got those credit cards kept them and used them for the next 10 years, 70% of them. So that was not a dumb thing to do. So giving someone the ability to pay is a very, very important thing for a merchant to do. And I would urge you to check out Easy Quick Funding, because that's what we do for you. My name is Clarke Wilson. I am President and CEO of Easy Quick Funding. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in another video.
Well, Clarke, I got to tell you, as a former business merchant myself, where I had 2 ladies' clothing stores and my own retail jewelry business, I mean, you're speaking to me. Tell us, I mean, are you still doing Easy Quick Funding? Because I know you're doing a lot of other things too.
Yeah, Easy Quick Funding is a program that started really a few years ago to take care of those who had very poor credit and could not buy major things on credit. And so what it does is it takes a check out of a person's account and turns it into multiple ACH pulls from their checking account.
Yeah, we're getting.
In other words, we now have it all the way up.
Clarke, yeah, we're getting a lot of static on the feed. I don't know. What do you think that is, Ronnie? Connection problems? Yeah, hang on, Clarke. Yeah. We're trying to get it back up. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
It doesn't have credit. Doesn't have credit cards, and they need a new transmission for 2.
Clarke, here's what we're going to do. Can you hear me? Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to hang up and we're going to call you back. We've had some connection problems. It sounds like it's a lot of static. So just hang in there and we're going to call you right back and get a new connection. Maybe we'll get lucky and get a stronger connection on that. So Ronnie, you going to go ahead and, okay. So we're going to try and get Clarke back on the line. And while we're doing that, again, anybody out there, if you've got any questions, in particularly, in the area of finance and investing, and we'll have Clarke talk a little bit about the Can Slim method that he teaches and preaches, which he's helped thousands and thousands of people with that. But we're trying to get him back on Skype right now. It just very well may be, the internet connection in that house, is the issue. So I don't know. We're going to find out. There may be a lot of traffic right now at that time. And in the meantime, let me say this too, is that, if you have any questions for me or you want to talk about it, American Idol or The Voice, we'll talk about that too, And you know what we might want to do now, Ronnie? While you're trying to get him back on the line, we've got a couple of pictures. I found a couple of old pictures. Clarke sent a couple of his own, but I found a couple of old pictures of Clarke and I going back to the mid-90s. Okay. Yeah, Clarke, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now, but when you answer the phone, you got to answer you answer the Skype, you got to click answer with video.
I clicked it 50 times.
No kidding. All right, it looks like it's trying to get your picture. There you are. Let's see if the connection is better now, Ronnie. Can you see this picture?
I see you.
Yeah, but can you see the picture of, it looks like a whole group of us there?
No.
All right, hang tough then. Hang tough. We're going to get it up. But, boy, I'll tell you what, I've never seen Skype this shaky. It's just a very, very shaky connection here.
You were all garbled.
Well, you here's the thing. You have to click that. And can't.
It won't do it if the connection's sometimes it just doesn't do it.
I got you. Okay. Very good. Well, you can hear me and we can see you. So now the question is, can you see me and can I hear you? You know, but going back to the quick funding, you want to tell us about that?
Well, the idea is for people who don't have very good credit to be able to buy things that cost more than they would have in their pocket at the moment.
Now, how are you able to do that though for the merchant?
Well, we have a major credit card company in San Diego clears the checks. It's a new thing for them as of a couple of years ago, and it's probably going to take over.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that sounds great for you. And what is that website for anybody who's interested?
EasyQuickFunding.com. 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 And we are nationwide. We can take any merchant anywhere who wants to get on the program, and we are able to deliver the machines that image the credit card, image the checks, and we're able to sign anybody up who wants to. So if you know any merchants who sell things that cost quite a bit of money, more money than people have in their pocket, and they want to sell to people who don't have credit cards and whatnot, we can help them do that.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm currently loading my website now with a new shopping cart. We hope to really officially launch it in the next couple of weeks. But there's most of the items will be in 5 figures.
Ooh, Lordy.
Yeah, you know, most of the items are going to be in that $10,000 to $50,000 price range. So, you know, would you be able to, you know, assist?
No, that's way too high. Way too high. Our max is $5,000.
I got you. Okay.
Our max is $5,000.
And that's because there's too much risk of fraud. Is that the issue?
Well, the issue is it doesn't pencil out above $5,000. We'd have to charge too much and nobody will pay it.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. We'd have to charge too much finance charge.
I got you.
It would be draconian for people to do it, and they just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Okay. Well, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, listen, let's talk a little bit about, you know, you've helped many, many thousands of investors over the years with the Can Slim investment strategy. And of course, I know where that's born from, but how did you get into that? And tell us about that.
Well, how did I get into it is real simple. I was a producer of radio shows at KMNY Radio, which is Money Radio in Pomona, California. Now, I got in there because I was a producer, so I thought I'd produce radio shows after I was in the movie business. So I went to Money Radio in Pomona, and I became a producer. And when I produced radio shows, I got a little bit of money. But I noticed that all my clients who did the radio shows were stockbrokers, and they made a lot of money off the shows we did, and I just made a little bit of money off the shows we did. So I decided I would become a stockbroker. So I became a stockbroker, and long story short, the last thing I did as a stockbroker before I quit was, let me back up a little. I didn't know how to pick a stock. I didn't know how to invest anything. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew how to produce radio shows. So I joined a firm, and everybody there's got 25 years of experience, and they're all a bunch of geniuses. And they all say, I don't care, don't worry about it, Clarke. We'll help you pick investments for your clients, and you'll be fine, no problem. So they're a bunch of geniuses, and they got years of experience. So I went along with them. The last thing I did at that firm was I took a guy's $10,000 IRA, the only thing he had in the whole world, and I turned it into $300 inside of 3 months. Well, it wasn't funny to me.
Wow.
Based on the recommendations of those freaking geniuses at my firm. So I decided I can't do that anymore. I cannot live with myself doing that. I just couldn't handle it, So I quit the stock brokerage business, and I found Investors Business Daily, and I said, okay, there's the number one guy on the planet. I'm going to go learn there. So I took a job there, and it takes a while to learn it, but the Can Slim methodology is the number one methodology on the planet, according to the American Association of Individual Investors. For every year they've been looking at it. So It's been around since the early 1960s, promulgated by Mr. William J. O'Neil, the publisher of Investors Business Daily and author of the best-selling book in the financial section, How to Make Money in Stocks by William J. O'Neil. And it's the best thing around. So I went there, learned it, and now I know it.
Yeah, and you've helped thousands of people with it, not only with the how to use his newspaper, but also on a higher level, the more institutional investors with the daily graphs. And I've seen those daily graph books. They're just incredible. And, I have read O'Neill's book. It's pretty amazing. With the you look for those graphs with, what is it? They call it the saucer and teacup, or the teacup and the handle. Right? I know I'm botching it up terribly, but it's been 15 years or more since I read that book.
Yeah. It's cup with handle.
Cup with handle.
Yeah, we're looking at part of the methodology is chart pattern recognition, okay? So there are chart patterns, and the thing you're trying to accomplish with a chart pattern is, did you get rid of all the people who were going to sell, okay? Because basically, fundamentally, on the bottom of everything is supply and demand, okay? So what you have in a cup with handle, you can follow along here. It's real simple. You get a prior run-up, okay? The price of the stock goes up because people are buying. Buying makes the price go up. Selling makes the price go down. So you get a prior run-up. People are buying, and then it starts to come off and create the left part of the cup. Well, when that happens, people are selling, and they're selling down in this price and selling. And then all of a sudden, the selling kind of dries up at the bottom, and that's the bottom of the cup. And then some people start buying. And then it comes up the other side, okay? And then that's the right half of the cup. So now you got buying, selling, buying, and then the handle is where it comes off a little bit, under 14% from the top of the right side of the cup, with declining volume, which means people are selling, but they're the last guys selling, They're the last guys to sell. And it goes down and down and down. And then one day we wake up and all of a sudden the price of that stock jumps past the top part of the right part of the handle, okay, with huge volume, 150% of the average 50-day volume. And that can only mean one thing. It can only mean that institutions are buying that stock. Because what we've done in the left part of the cup is we've gotten rid of some sellers. Right side of the cup, people buying again. And then the handle, we got rid of the last sellers who were going to sell. So all that's left now above that price are buyers. And funny thing, that's where it has the least resistance to upward movement of the stock. That happens at a new high frequently, and 98% of the population will not buy a stock when it's at a new high because they think it's too expensive, because you're supposed to buy low, sell high, right? Okay. Buy low, sell high is correct, but only from the perspective of 6 months from now, okay? Not from the perspective of today, okay? So the only thing that's ever worked in a market is in an uptrending market, buy high, sell higher. Because how does a stock go from $25 a share to $100 a share?
26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
There you go. And every new one is a new high, and people are resistant to buy it there. And yet, that's when the stock has the fewest number of sellers in the issue. So it works. And so chart pattern recognition is something that's part and parcel of this whole thing. You got a cup with a handle. You got a saucer with a handle. You got a double bottom. You got a flat base. You got a box breakout. And you need to be able to recognize those things. And once you do it for a while, you can. It's very important to know what you're looking at and let the market tell you what to do.
Clarke, we have a good friend of ours, Mark Goldberg from New York. And I'm really glad Mark called in, because we're getting into a territory that honestly is over my head. I'm not a money guy. I'm not a financials guy. But Mark is really, I don't know if he's a financials guy. I'll let him tell you what he is. But he's definitely a big business guy. And I'm so glad, Mark, you chose to call in tonight. He's calling from New York. Is it possible to, and he's Skyping in on our other Skype account. We put two Skypes side by side. All right. Mark, welcome to the show. Meet my old friend Clarke Wilson from Los Angeles. Clarke, meet my new friend from New York, Mark Goldberg.
Hiya, Mark.
And how are you doing, Clarke?
Well, I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, we kind of have a similar background. I was licensed in '79, and did all the things you were doing, except I wasn't, on air and what have you there. And the only problems I've ever had with any of the chart formulations and especially when people were arguing with the options and everything else, is you can never really calculate the short interest. And when they would come in and do a raid or something like that, how did you handle that? Because they can blow a chart right up.
You mean if there's a lot of short interest?
Well, not only a lot of short, sometimes it's not even expected and they just come in.
Well, I haven't dealt with looking at the short interest in a great deal of detail, and the reason I didn't is because the other things I look at work fine. And so typically when there's a lot of short interest, that's kind of bullish because everybody's going to have to cover, so that's kind of a bullish sign depending on where you're at in the chart pattern. But remember that we're pretty narrow in where we want to buy things. We only want to buy things at a pivot point and no other place. And if you buy things at a pivot point or no other place, you do have the highest statistical probability of success. So I look more to that than to all of the other things that I could look at. And the problem that I find in the market is not that there's not enough information. It's that there's too much information for any one person to digest. And so what people do is they tend to focus, on the things that they like and they want to focus on and they think are important, and they miss other things. And so I might be missing the short interest, okay? But I think that my analysis of the chart pattern would make up for it. You know what I mean?
Well, I follow the IBD pattern. I mean, I always use that. Yeah. And I was using it more, for my straddles and spreads when I was doing the options and what have you there. Woo. And I considered IBD more of a Bible than the journal at that time.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely. Do you do butterfly spreads?
It got to a point where I had to give it up. I mean, I was everywhere, and it was just too time consuming. So I just really went the simple way, and I stripped everything down to covered call writing.
Covered call writing's fine. That's why we have products like Leaderboard over there at Investors Business Daily. If you're going to be writing covered calls, you want to write covered calls on stocks that are going to be flying up and being taken away from you. That way you get to keep the premium and you don't lose any money in the price of the underlying security more than the premium that you got in. Because that's the problem people used to have. There was a guy, I will not mention his name, but he wrote several books on writing covered calls. And the one thing he never mentioned to anybody was the fact that you could, in a declining market, lose more money on the price decline of the underlying security before you got back to it, because people didn't look at it. They just wrote the covered calls and didn't look at it much after that. That you could lose more money on the price of the underlying security than you made in the premium by the time you got around to covering your position. So people lost a lot of money from that guy because he never told them about that. And I was real ticked off about it back then, I'll tell you.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing I noticed, back from the heyday in '79 when we weren't this tech savvy to now, is the computer generation programs that just come in and just start taking over the marketplace. And with the amount of information that the John Smith investor out there has, the computers just sometimes come in and just make things totally unrealistic and throw people for a loop. And some of these people would get actually frightened out of a position for the wrong reasons. So I think technology in many ways is actually hurting the street right now.
Well, the technology that you look at can wear you out and scare you out. That's why you got to have a real solid discipline that works, all the time and that you're really good at. So that you don't allow those outside forces to beat you up, because it's the emotional side, of course, of trading that'll hurt you more than anything. No, that's not true. Here's what'll hurt you more than anything. It isn't what you don't know in the market that will hurt you as much as what you do know that is flat wrong. Okay, that'll really hurt you.
I like that philosophy. Well, I hung up my licenses maybe 9 years or so ago. I just had enough of it, and I'm just glad to see you on the show. I could really equate with you. And Larry, good job. I've been following Clarke's model. I still watch it and do certain things, but it's nice to see a person with integrity, because you're not coming out as a heister and everything like that, and you're telling it from the heart.
That's really cool. I'm glad that you could follow him, Mark, because I really can't. I mean, you guys are talking language. I'm kind of mesmerized listening to you two guys, and I know you guys are understanding each other. I know a little bit about Investors Business Daily, and I know the newspaper itself is not very expensive, but those graphs, those books that you guys are talking about, what do they come out once a month or once a week, or how do they come out?
Well, it's a new product now. It used to be Daily Graphs, and now the new product is called Market Smith. Okay, and the Daily Graphs used to be in black and white, or just black and blue and white, but now Market Smith is full color books. Oh God, they're beautiful, and they come out once a week, the books. But you got Market Smith Online, which is an excellent product, and they have a brand new feature that is an add-on feature to Market Smith called pattern recognition. And I just got it yesterday on my computer for the first time. And thanks to those IT guys for letting me have it, and I really appreciate it. But I will tell you that the pattern recognition software that they have as an add-on to Market Smith is really fantastic. It's really good. I've played with it now. And what I do now is I just take a list of stocks that I want to look at, and I set my slideshow on 5 seconds, and I turn on the Market Smith pattern recognition, and it finds the cups with the handles and tells you whether it's a first stage, second stage, third stage, or fourth stage base, what kind of a base it is, where the pivot point is, where your loss is, and where to take a profit. I mean, it's a fantastic product.
But isn't that like a subscription service that's like really expensive, like $1,000 a year or something like that?
Well, yeah, it's $1,000 a year, but people...
Is that what it is? I just took a shot. I don't know how much.
Market Smith itself is $1,000 a year, and before I went back to work at Investors Business Daily, I paid $1,000 a year for that. Okay, without the pattern recognition. Pattern recognition is an added on for $149 a year. But listen, people blow way more than that in picking a wrong stock, getting in at the wrong time, or not exiting properly. Okay, this notion that these subscriptions to these things are too expensive is baloney, because people blow way more money than this in a myriad of other ways. Okay, so if the fees, for example, my registered investment advisor fees, when the fees are the difference between making money and not making money, it's so skinny, you got the wrong advisor. Okay, and it's the same thing with these subscriptions. I mean, what's it worth to pick from the top 2% of the stocks in the market? What's that worth? Is that worth something? Yeah. I think so. How about the whole idea of canceling is to get rid of everything you don't want that fast.
Sign me up, Clarke. Sign me up, man.
Well, I just don't want people want to do it themselves. They want to do it themselves. I understand they don't trust advisors. People out there think everybody's a crook. I understand that, and they want to do it themselves. So let's give them some tools that they can use on their own. I am a meetup leader for Investors Business Daily in San Juan Capistrano, and every month I go there and I teach a lesson, and everybody's real happy to hear it because they come back to me and they tell me that I saved them a lot of money. We had one guy there who never, ever, ever put in a stop loss position, okay? As soon as you buy a stock, you immediately put in a loss of 7% or 8%, okay? Immediately. And so he wasn't doing it. So I beat him up in the meeting. I beat him up and said, you will do it with every single position you take from now on. Raise your hand and swear on a stack of Bibles. He did. And then the next meeting, 1 month later, he came back and thanked me profusely because I saved him thousands of dollars just for that one suggestion. And so that's what makes it worth it. Am I helping people? The answer is yes. Does this information help people? The answer is yes. It's good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as you may know, I had a little experience with Investors Business Daily also, but it was on the marketing side of the business, not in the side that you're involved with. You're into the real meat and potatoes part of it, the real guts of it. And I know William O'Neil, of course, is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. He is 77 years old, that guy.
Okay. Does he come into the office still?
Yeah. Are you kidding? You bet.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, he's there. He's absolutely there.
And I remember he had his son there working for him, too. I forgot his name already. What was his name?
Scott.
Scott. So Scott's still coming in the office, too, right?
Scott is right upstairs from where I am.
Okay. All right. Do you ever sit down and have lunch with Bill, the old man? Are you there, Clarke? Looks like we lost Clarke on the connection. Well, Mark is still there. Boy, that connection to L.A. is horrible. All right. Clarke, are you still here? Can you hear us? All right. Well,
solar flares today, Larry.
I don't know. You know, our connection to New York seems to be much better, but for whatever reason, our connection to L.A. is not good. We're trying to redial up. But like I said, I had some experience at Investors Business Daily, but it was all about, you know, the marketing side of the business, converting, you know, the trials to the subscriptions. And that was a good time in my life, actually. You know, I had my own thing going, and it was a client, and we did very, very well with that program. But Clarke is into and that's not where I met Clarke, by the way. It's interesting. I met Clarke sometime after that, and I guess he only got involved with Investors Business Daily in the last 5 years or so. So and I was back with them, working with them back in the mid '90s. So it's just kind of coincidental. It's come full circle, you know. But anyway, Mark, you were following everything he was saying, right?
Yeah, it's
simple stuff for you, right?
Well, yeah, it's, you know, the problem out there. Like I said, I don't do it professionally any longer. What I was really trying to explain is so many people are now getting influenced by the chat boards and all the hype that's out there. And you just got to really, you know, follow a discipline, whatever your discipline, you know, might be. And I've always believed, you know, that when they started going to the E-Trades and Scottrades and, you know, people just wanting the cheapest commission, you know, those people would a lot of times wind up putting themselves in jeopardy. It's like when you go to a doctor, do you shop for a doctor for what he charges or for what he knows? So I've always felt that, you know, you go, and if you're going to do this seriously and use your money, you pay for the right services. At the end of the day, you're ahead of the game. And even if you're not ahead of the game, you're not as much maybe as down in the game. You got somebody giving you proper advice, and you got to feel comfortable.
Well, Mark, again, thank you so much for supporting the show tonight. And I was kind of hoping that you were going to be out there watching, and you might call in tonight. I needed you. I needed you tonight.
No problem.
You know, here, you know, my thing, I like to watch American Idol and The Voice, and I like Judy Garland. I like doing the classic films. We get into financials and stuff like that. I mean, you know, that's really not my territory, you know, so I really appreciate your support. Clarke, we got you back.
You do.
Okay. I'm sorry about the bad connection there, Clarke. I have never seen it quite this bad before.
Oh, well. It happens.
Well, we still have Mark on the phone. The question I asked you right before we went dark with you was, do you ever have lunch with Bill O'Neil, the old man?
No, I do not. He lives in loftier air than I breathe.
Okay. Well, you know, that's an honest answer, you know, but I know it's a big company. What do they have, like 500 employees there?
Gosh, I really don't know. I don't know, but there's at least that many. I know that Bill O'Neil had lunch with Candace, however.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he had lunch with Candace. Because she lives in rarefied air too.
Well, but also Candace has that, she's an attorney too. So, she's got that legal thing going on too. But, I know he, at one time when I was, having my time there, he had like 4 or 5 different printing plants all across the country. I got to believe those are all gone now with the internet and all that stuff, the need for publishing. Does he still have those printing plants?
Surprisingly enough, a lot of things still need to be printed, and he's one of the biggest printers on the planet. He's got 2 new HP printers in LA here, and they built a whole building for him. And these new printers can take 1 roll of paper and print up to 10 jobs simultaneously. It's just absolutely amazing. He's a very, very, very large printer, and especially of catalogs and things that take a lot of computing, a lot of numbered stuff, So yeah, he's a big printer still. That's a big part of his business.
So he still has those printing plants all across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, because I can remember clearly those daily graphs. I mean, those books were, those were thick books. I mean, now you just go online. You probably don't even need those books.
Well, MarketSmith is online. I mean, you can go online to MarketSmith, and that's how I do it, yeah.
So they don't print the daily graphs anymore.
Well, they do. Yeah, they print them. They print them, and they're beautiful, and they're in color. And the reason you have printed stuff, as I demonstrated in a couple of videos I just made, the reason you do it is because you can write on it. It's paper. You can write on it. You can circle things. You can highlight things. That's why you have it on paper as well. You don't have to always take it online because you can see things that way by turning the page. You can't necessarily see any other way.
All right.
I like it like that. I like paper, and other people like paper too.
Well, you're old school, man. So, so am I. But anyway, I just wanted to thank Mark once again. Mark, thank you so much for your support. You know how much I appreciate it, and how much I, what I think of you and everything. So thanks again, Mark.
No problem, and just have a wonderful evening.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, I'm really glad he called in because it gave you somebody to kind of mix it up with a little bit, But
yeah, he's a wonderful guy. Oh,
yeah. Clarke, I was digging through my photos, and I don't know if you saw this. We were having connection issues before, but I found a couple of pictures of you and I going way back. Here's one. Do you remember this one? No, that was the right one. Go to that one first. Yeah. Do you remember this picture, Clarke?
Oh, let's see. I can't see it.
But you can't even see our feed, huh?
Yeah, I see it.
You do see it?
Wait a minute. I don't know where it is.
We cannot see it.
Can't see it. That's a shame. Well, this is me and you in tuxedos. You've got the red coat.
I remember that. We went to the Emmys.
No, it wasn't the Emmys. It was a 50th birthday party.
Oh, it was Candace's birthday party.
Yes, and it was in Marina del Rey. What was the name of that nice restaurant we went to?
Shanghai Reds.
Shanghai Reds. Thank you, Candace. She's standing off camera there.
Yeah, of course he can hear you. She's sitting here over my shoulder trying to tell me what to do.
That's right. I don't know how I could possibly forget Shanghai Reds because that was my spot. I love Shanghai Reds. Anyway, now I have another picture. You have that older one, Ronnie? Grab that older one. Now, this one actually suffered some water damage. You can see the water damage on it. This is from about, I would say, 90. That other one was the year 2000. This one's probably 97 or 98. But can you can't see this one either, right?
I can't see it.
If you hold it in front of your face, we can see it.
Well, no, it's a digital picture now. It's scanned in. I can't do that. But that's a shame. But anyway, it's...
Describe it.
Well, there's a guy in the middle wearing a green T-shirt, and me and Clarke are on both sides of him, and it's Bob Colantonio in the middle. And, of course, on the side that I'm on, it's all water damage, and you're on the other side there. And I'm looking through my pictures, and I found this one, and I honestly don't even remember taking that picture, but that had to be in probably, in the mid-90s or something like that.
97.
97?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
we're shooting pool on the 3rd Street Promenade upstairs.
Okay, up at Gotham Hall probably.
That's right.
Yeah, on the 3rd Street Promenade. Very nice. Well, anyway, that gentleman in the picture was Bob Colantonio. Okay? So who is Bob Colantonio, Clarke?
Well, he's like the #1 Chippendale.
Okay. And how is it that you know Bob? Come on.
I know Bob because I know Candace.
No, come on now.
Bob came down here, and we were going to do another show after Chippendale.
Trying to get you to say you were the MC.
Oh, okay. I was the original MC at Chippendales, right?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You were the MC? Of course I knew that. I was trying to pull it out of you, but
I didn't get it.
You got too much financials on the brain, Clarke.
Oh, wait.
That we can see the tuxedo now.
Yeah. Now we see the tuxedo.
Okay, because you're watching the actual internet feed. Okay. Well, in any case, Clarke was the original MC for Chippendales, the male strip show, and we found a little video. Now it's you got to watch quick. It's only about a minute and a half, but check this out, Clarke. We dug it up. Very nicely done. That was you. Now, a couple things. First of all, you look great. You were skinny then. Just like if I show my pictures from the 90s, I was skinny too in those days. I don't know who's put on more weight. I don't know who's put on more weight, me or you. But in any case, you look great there. Now, a couple things. A, you were wearing roller skates. Yeah. And B, how in the world did you ever become the MC for the Chippendale show in Los Angeles?
Well, we talked about me being in the movie business before. So a buddy of mine, Jack Sowards, who wrote Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, was a friend of Tony Miller, and Jack Sowards and I would go to some parties in Beverly Hills. And there was this lovely party at a wonderful house. And I told this woman that I was a movie distributor, and she said, "Oh, I know a guy who's got some really wonderful children's shows that he needs distribution on. Would you go see him?" And his name was Nick Noia. And I said, okay. So I went down and I met Nick, and he had 8 of the best kids musicals I have ever seen in my life, called The Unicorn Tales, that he had produced and won 2 local Emmys in New York. So I took them for foreign distribution. So long story short, I sold him someplace, and I was bringing him a check for $6,000. And typically, when producers get a check for $6,000 back in those days, that he could keep all of it, they're usually pretty happy, and he was not happy. And I said, "Hey, Nick, why are you not happy? I just handed you $6,000 that you get to spend." And he said, "Well, I'm trying to do this show down at this club, and I can't get an MC, and nobody can do it. And we've gone through 72 guys, and I can't figure it out because nobody can really do it. Nobody can do it." And I said, "Well, here, let me see the script, okay?" So he hands me the script, and I take 3 steps backward, and I look at the script, and it looked pretty simple to me. So I just did it for him, and he just took one look at me, and he said, "You've got the job." That was it.
Now, what's the bit with the roller skates?
Well, you see, part of the show was the dancers, when they got done doing their strip, would go into the audience, and they would get a tip, and for the tip, they would give a tonsillectomy. And so, and so during the tip and kiss part, there was no show. And so I had to figure out, what am I going to do for a show? Because I'm the only guy with a microphone in my hand. And so I learned how to do roller skating tricks. And so that was the show when the dancers were out there getting their tip and kiss.
Wow. So when he told you, here's the script and, we need an MC, did you know it was for male strippers?
Well, I got that pretty quickly, yeah.
You didn't care. As long as you had a microphone in your hand and you could do your MC bit, you didn't care.
Well, I was a stand-up comedian, and that was the job, so I was okay with it.
That's right. I remember that. You did do stand-up comedy. I couldn't really find any, stand-up comedy bits. Of course, back then, nowadays, there's video of everything now. But, back in those days, I wish I had video of a lot of the stuff I used to do or had, my hand in. And, nowadays, of course, there's video on, everyone's got cell phone cameras and video on everything now. But I couldn't really find any stand-up comedy stuff of yours.
Well, you never will either. Because there isn't any. We didn't have video back then.
That's right.
No, we didn't have video. I gave your producer the link to Who's On First.
We looked at that, and honestly, the sound quality was kind of shaky. So, it was just kind of hard to hear. It was kind of echoey.
Yeah, well, it was a local thing,
Yeah. But I mean, I love that bit, Who's On First.
Yeah.
But when you typically...
I do want to tell you a story about not having tape, though.
Okay, let's hear it.
When I was a senior in high school, we had the Junior Achievement Show on WQAD-TV Channel 8, Moline, Illinois. And, Junior Achievement is supposed to teach kids about business. So this was the Junior Achievement Show, and because I sold the commercials on the show, it was on Sunday morning at 11 a.m., so, of course, nobody ever saw it. But it was the Junior Achievement Show, and I was the host of the show. But the videotape back then was 2 inches wide, and it was played on a machine that was about 10.5 feet long and about 4 feet wide. And the tape was so expensive that they had to reuse it and reuse it and reuse it until it broke and they couldn't use it anymore, and then buy another tape. So that's why I don't have anything from that show, was because the tape had to be reused because it was so precious and so expensive.
Yeah, I remember 1-inch master videotape. I don't remember 2 inches, and we're about the same age, I think. We're pretty darn close.
Well, I think I'm a little older than you.
I think you got me by 2 years. Okay, maybe 3. But in any case, yeah, it's too bad, we don't have video of so much of the stuff in our past lives. Like all kids today have more video than they ever probably want to have. But in any case, so the Chippendale gig, how long was that for you? And of course, you were doing it with, at that point, I imagine Nick was somewhat of a friend of yours at that point, if you were doing business with him.
Nick was a dear friend, and we became wonderful friends. And unfortunately, he was murdered.
Right.
I don't know if you want to get into the story about that, but Nick was murdered, and we lost a very dear friend and one of the most creative guys I have ever known.
Yeah, very well publicized murder trial, murder case, and the gentleman who committed the murder was caught, and then I guess he hung himself in his jail cell.
I heard that he tore up his clothing and stuffed it down his throat.
Oh, is that what it was? Well, I knew he killed himself in his jail cell. I wasn't sure exactly. I thought he hung himself, but yeah, that was a very tragic. The Chippendale murders. It was a big thing in L.A. That was wild. But he was murdered in New York, right?
He was murdered in New York in his office, and the money that he was counting from his business was spread all over the desk, and not a buck was taken from it.
Yeah.
So it was obviously a hit.
It was a hit, man. Yeah, and I guess the hitman blew the whistle, huh?
Yep. Eventually, they're all caught.
Yeah, that was very tragic. Sorry for your loss. In any case, so you were doing the Chippendale gig for how many years? 2, 3?
85.
1
Yeah,
year?
I closed the original show on November 22nd of 1985.
Okay. And so you did it for about a year or 2 years or what?
Oh, no. Almost 5.
Almost 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess that whole murder thing kind of changed the dynamics of the whole show, right?
Well, the murder didn't happen until 87.
By that time, he was taking it on tour, I believe, or something
Yeah,
like
he
that.
was doing the tour then. He
Right.
was doing the tour. And I was out. Okay, I mean, I was out. But my jokes were still out there making money for somebody.
Yeah. Well, like I said, a lot of similarities because we have these chapters in our lives that are so, eclectic and diverse. I don't know if, that kind of lifestyle goes on anymore, but who knows? In any case, I know you're a big fan of the movies. We do a segment every week called the Classic Film Zone here. And usually I have my Classic Film Zone correspondent in New York, Barbara Rossini. She's an old-time jazz singer. She's wonderful. But she already had plans for tonight because I had already said we're not doing a show on Thursday, March 8th. So we don't have Barbara here. But I thought we would do just a little bit of the Classic Film Zone, maybe show one clip or two. And you mentioned in your interview, your pre-interview with our producer, Stacia, that one of your favorite movies was Casablanca.
Yes.
So I thought, let's take a look at something from Casablanca. So right now, Ronnie, let's go to the Classic Film Zone. All right, Clarke, as I mentioned, our Classic Film Zone tonight, we're going to just take a small peek out there at Casablanca from 1942. And I know I loaded in some clips, Ronnie. You're going to have to help me as to which clips we've loaded here. But, of course, this one stars Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, one of my favorite all-time movies. And we've actually featured this one in the past, but it's been a while now. And I thought, what I would do is, bring it back and just take a look at a couple of my favorite clips. Clarke, do you have any words about Casablanca?
Well, I just want to say that the man who runs the educational seminar for all of the readers at all of the studios, his name is Robert McKee, and he holds a seminar on screenwriting that all of the readers and all the producers and associate producers and actors and directors and writers and everybody must attend. And I attended the writing seminar with Robert McKee, and what they do in that seminar is actually break down Casablanca. And so it was one of my favorites before that seminar, but now having broken it down all the way from the beginning to the end during that seminar, it is absolutely my number one favorite film of all time.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you say that. And of course, you mentioned for screenwriters, and if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the Academy Awards I believe they won, or certainly they were nominated for. Anyway, let me just double check that. Yeah. They actually won the Oscar for Best Writing Screenplay in 1942, which was a very, heavily contested year that year in the Academy Awards. And it also won, of course, for Best Director and Best Movie. And, the interesting thing also about the Academy Awards that year, we see a nice picture here of Paul Henreid and, of course, Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart, is that Ingrid Bergman, she was incredible in this movie. There's Dolly Wilson. But Ingrid Bergman was not nominated for this movie, which is kind of a shock, but she was nominated for another movie, which I'm trying to remember what it was now. And she didn't win for that movie either, but she could have potentially been nominated for two. I guess we'd have to ask Candace, would the Academy allow that for one actor or actress to be nominated for, twice? I don't know if that's even allowable. But she won it she was nominated for another movie in the same year. But in any case, I do have a clip to show. And this is just a wonderful movie. If you've never seen it before, this is something you definitely want to run out there and grab this one. It's an all-timer, as Clarke pointed out. It's a lot of people's all-time favorite. But I think on the AFI list of the top 250 films of all time, I think it's ranked as number 19 or something like that. It's way up there. But I've got a clip here. This is where Ingrid Bergman comes into, Rick's bar, Cafe American, in Casablanca in Morocco, after having left him in Paris, France, during the World War II invasion of the Nazis. So let's go ahead and let's go to that clip, Ronnie.
Which is that?
This is Play It, Sam.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, Miss Elsa. I never expect to see you again.
It's been a long time.
Yes, ma'am. A lot of water under the bridge.
Some of the old songs, Sam.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is Rick?
I don't know. I ain't seen him all night.
When will he be back?
Not tonight no more. He ain't coming. He went home.
Does he always leave so early?
Oh, he never. Well, he's got a girl up to the Blue Parrot. Goes up there all the time.
You used to be a much better liar, Sam.
Leave him alone, Miss Elsa. You bad luck to him.
Play it once, Sam. For all time's sake.
I don't know what you mean, Miss Elsa.
Play it, Sam. Play as time goes by.
Oh, I can't remember it, Miss Elsa. I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Sing it, Sam.
You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
Well, you were asking about Rick, and here he is. Mademoiselle, may I present...
Farewell, sir.
Hello, Rick.
Oh, you've already met Rick, Mademoiselle. Well, then perhaps you also...
This is Mr. Laszlo.
How do you do? How do you do? One hears a great deal about Rick in Casablanca. And about Victor Laszlo everywhere. Won't you join us for a drink?
Oh, no, Rick,
Well,
never.
thanks, I will.
Well, a precedent has been broken. Emile?
This is a very interesting cafe. I congratulate you. I congratulate you. What for? Your work? Thank you. I try. We all try. You succeed.
I can't get over you two. She was asking about you earlier, Rick, in a way that made me extremely jealous.
I wasn't sure you were the same. Let's see, the last time we met.
It was La Belle Aurore.
How nice, you remembered. But of course, that was the day the Germans marched into Paris.
Not an easy day to forget.
No.
I remember every detail. The Germans wore gray. You wore blue.
Yes, I put that dress away. When the Germans march out, I'll wear it again.
Ricky, you're becoming quite human. I suppose we have to thank you for that, Mademoiselle.
Ilse, I don't wish to be the one to say it, but it's late.
So it is. And we have a curfew here in Casablanca. It would never do for the chief of police to be found drinking after hours and have to fine himself.
I hope you didn't overstay our welcome. Not at all.
Your check, sir.
Don't let me my party.
Another president gone. This has been a very interesting evening. I'll call you a cab. Gasoline rationing, time of night.
You'll come again, anytime.
You say goodnight to Sam for me.
I will.
There's still nobody in the world who can play as time goes by like Sam.
He hasn't played it in a long time.
Good night.
Good night. Night.
Well, there you have it, Clark. You know, play it, Sam. Of course, everybody always misquotes that as play it again,
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
But Dolly Wilson, Ingrid Bergman, give me some thoughts.
Well, these are stars, you know. These are stars. That's what stars do, you know. I was thinking, these are great clips, but what I was thinking of was the story that Robert McKee told about the writers.
Okay.
They got in trouble at the end of the picture when they were writing it. They got in trouble because they couldn't figure out how to, you know, we know that somebody shot somebody, and we know that there's a murder committed, and somebody has got to pay. And so the writers were in a corner. And what do we get? What do we get the constabulary to say to Rick that lets everybody off the hook and ties it all up in a nice, neat bow? And so they were stewing over it. They stewed over it for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then one day, one of the writers turns to the other and says, "I got it." He says, "What is it?" "Round up the usual
Round up the usual suspects.
Round up suspects. I'm sorry. Round up the usual suspects.
That's right. Claude Rains.
What a brilliant way to tie it all up.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was kind of torn. And by the way, while we were watching that clip, I wanted to look up what was the name of the movie that Ingrid Bergman was nominated for that kind of preempted her from being nominated for this movie. And it was For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, kind of ironic that she wasn't nominated on this one because she was incredible on this one. And from what I read about, you know, from Ingrid Bergman, that she didn't really like making this movie. She didn't really like making Casablanca. She never expected it to have the longevity and the life that it did. And, of course, that's what she became known for. But go figure.
Well, you better like everything you do because you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Well, you know, I've got 3 more clips here, and I'm only going to show one more, okay? I've got, if you know the movie so well, I've got Gin Joints, Viva la France, and Hill of Beans. So if you were going to just pick one that we're going to show before, because it's getting late now.
Oh, do the Hill of Beans.
God. Okay, no problem. I mean, that is the classic.
I like that speech.
Yeah,
I like that speech.
Yeah, well, that is the classic scene, of course, that everybody knows about this movie, even if they've never seen this movie. And, of course, we have to shorten it up because we can't show a 10-minute clip. So we've got it shortened up to 4 or 5 minutes. But we'll show that one just for you, Clark. But I also want to show Hill of Beans because I love that one, too. And it's not a long one. Let's go to Hill of Beans, and then we're going to do... let's go to Gin Joints, and then we'll do Hill of Beans, and we'll forget Viva la France.
Thank you.
All right, check it out.
Boss? Boss?
Yeah?
Boss, ain't you going to bed?
Not right now.
Ain't you planning on going to bed in the near future?
No.
You ever going to bed?
No.
Well, I ain't sleepy either.
Good, then have a drink.
No, not me, boss.
Don't have a drink.
Boss, let's get out of here.
No, sir. I'm waiting for a lady.
Please, boss, let's go. Ain't nothing but trouble for you here.
Coming back? I know she's coming back.
We'll take the car and drive all night. We'll get drunk. We'll go fishing and stay away until she's gone.
Shut up and go home, will you?
No, sir. I'm staying right here.
I grab Bugatti, then she walks in. Well, that's the way it goes. One in, one out. Sam.
Yes, boss.
It's December 1941 in Casablanca. What time is it in New York?
What? My watch stopped.
I bet they're asleep in New York. I bet they're asleep all over America. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. What's that you're playing?
Oh, just a little something on my own.
Oh, stop it. You know what I want to hear.
No, I don't.
You played it for her, you play it for me.
Well, I don't think I can remember.
If she can stand it, I can. Play it.
Yes, boss.
Wow, they just don't make him like that anymore, Clark.
Nope. No.
You know, and that's that where he goes into the whole daydream and fantasy, you know, the flashback of him and Elsa back in Paris, France, and their love, and then she does come into the bar. She actually did come in. But all right, we're going to wrap up the Classic Film Zone with the classic scene at the end that I think everybody knows by now, but we've shortened it up a little bit. You know, it's the scene that you called for, Clark, the Hill of Beans. Here we go.
Louis, have your man go with Mr. Laszlo and take care of his luggage.
Certainly, Rick. Anything you say. Find Mr. Laszlo's luggage and put it on the plane.
Yes, sir.
This way.
If you don't mind, you fill in the names. That'll make it even more official.
You think of everything, don't you?
And the names are Mr. and Mrs. Victor Laszlo.
But why my name, Richard?
Because you're getting on that plane.
I don't understand. What about you?
I'm staying here with him till the plane gets safely away.
No, Richard, no. What has happened to you? Last night
Last night we said a great many things. You said I was to do the thinking for both of us. Well, I've done a lot of it since then. It all adds up to one thing. You're getting on that plane with Victor where you belong.
But, Richard, no,
Now, you've got to listen to me. You have any idea what you'd have to look forward to if you stayed here? 9 chances out of 10, we'd both wind up at a concentration camp. Isn't that true, Louis?
I'm afraid Major Strasser would insist.
You're saying this only to make me go.
I'm saying it because it's true. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris. We didn't have, we lost it until you came to Casablanca. We got it back last night.
When I said I would never leave you.
And you never will. But I've got a job to do, too. Where I'm going, you can't follow. What I've got to do, you can't be any part of. Ilsa, I'm no good at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of 3 little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Someday you'll understand that. Now. He's looking at you, kid.
And of course, it goes on with the murder and round up the usual suspects and all that. But I did that one for you tonight, Clark.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we're done with the Classic Film Zone tonight. Everybody, if watching the show right now, that's one you definitely want to go out there and get. It's an all-timer. Now, Clark, I know you're a very devoted family man, and just you're absolutely wonderful father. And I
lost you.
Can you hear me? All right. It sounds like again we're having connection problems with Los Angeles. That's horrible. I hate to hear that, Ronnie. We're going to have to figure out a way.
You.
Well, we can hear you.
Sorry.
Well, we hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear us? He's gone. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and put up the pictures of his daughters. It's just too much trouble to keep fighting that connection problem, Ronnie. Just too much. But these are his 2 daughters, Natalie and Jessica. And that's a shame. And I think his one daughter, if I'm not mistaken, is in college out here in Minnesota. Oh, they're both in Minnesota. Okay. Very, very nice. Those are his kids. I'm sorry we lost Clark. We lost that connection once again. And then I was very surprised, that when I called Clark and asked him to do this, He told me that he was how do you say it, a vegan or a vegan? A vegan. Vegan. So I guess that means he won't eat meat anymore, and probably good for him. That's probably the route I need to go. I don't know, but Clarke, it looks like we just got you back. But anyway, I was really surprised to hear, because I don't remember you being a quote vegan. So is that something new?
No, actually, in the first year I met my ex-wife, we both became vegan at the same time.
So what is that, like 30 years ago or 20 years ago?
It's 22 years ago.
I just don't remember that, And so you sent us a picture for the show where you're behind a bowl of, I guess.
That's a vegan restaurant. Yeah, that's me.
Vegan stuff.
Food. Yum, yum.
But, while we lost the connection with you, can we get that picture back for a second, Ronnie? We flashed a picture of your two daughters. I know you're an incredible father, a very devoted family man. What are we looking at here, Clarke?
Jessica and Natalie.
Okay.
Jessica is 20. She is a junior at Winona State University in Winona, Minnesota. And Natalie is a senior in high school at Chanhassen High School in Chanhassen, Minnesota, where they live with their mother and the new Mr. Wonderful.
Do you realize that my that's pretty funny.
I know.
That's pretty funny. Do you realize that?
Don't go visit, Larry. Don't go visit.
No, I'm not. But do you realize that Chanhassen High School is truly, literally a half a mile from our studio right here, right now?
Yeah.
That's how close we are.
Yeah.
When I tell people, where the studio is, I always say, do you know where Chanhassen High School is? And they go, oh, yeah. I said, well, you go there and you make a left. I mean, that's how close we are. So that's what a coincidence.
How about that?
That's amazing. That is just amazing. Well, in any event, Clarke, it's been incredible, for me to catch up with you after all these years. And, thank you so much for participating. And it really is interesting listening to you talk about all the financial stuff, because, I guess I should have probably learned more about it when I was younger, and maybe I'd be a rich guy right now.
Well, we'd all have been better off if we'd have known before what we know today. But you can only go forward from today, so let's start today and do it right from here on out. That's what I kind of tell everybody. And listen, I want to thank you for inviting me on the show. It has been my pleasure to catch up with you as well. I've really had a lot of fun, and I hope the audience has too.
Yeah, I think so. We have a pretty good crowd out there. They're still hanging with us, but we're gonna wrap it up. And actually, you know what? Well, because of the connection problems, maybe just watch it online. We end every show with a Judy Garland number. I actually selected this one kind of because I thought you'd get a kick out of it too, because it's one of my favorites. It's really an old one, though. Do you remember the Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney days?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we weren't born then, neither one of us, but, I know you're a film buff. And, of course, Judy...
Well, Dad's going to build the sets, and Mom is going to make the costumes, and we're going to put on a show.
Well, you're talking about the backyard musicals of Busby Berkeley, and, of course, there were 4 of them. And the fourth one of the 4 was Girl Crazy, 1943. And because they all had that similar plot that, let's put on a show, And in Girl Crazy, it was the same thing, to save the college. And... I picked a clip from one of those backyard musicals. So nice call on your part. Let's try and keep Clarke on the line. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show. We're going to go to our final segment, Always Chasing Rainbows. Well, Clarke, as I said, I end every show with this segment called Always Chasing Rainbows, because Judy Garland was my mom's favorite, and she is my favorite today. And, we were just talking about Minnesota, and, of course, she's from Minnesota, but she grew up in California, as you know. And I always find Judy to be inspirational, and there's so many numbers as far as from her movies, her concerts, her TV shows, and there's so much tape on her about these things. But I'm going to show one of my favorites. I love the Judy and Mickey. We haven't done one of the old ones in a while now. A lot of the stuff we've been showing recently has been from, more recent years, like the 50s and up. This goes back to 1943, and I just love Judy and Mickey, and this was from Girl Crazy. And Mickey Rooney is a playboy in New York City and a multimillionaire's son, and his dad, decides to send him to an all-girls college in Cody, Wyoming, or somewhere out there, out west, to an all-boys school. And so he can't get in trouble with girls. He ends up meeting the one girl at the college who's the postal carrier, and that's Judy Garland. And he tries to go through this Western school, and he's a city boy, and he just can't take it. It's not his style. And he says, I'm leaving, I'm quitting, I'm going back to New York. And she says, no problem. So she actually volunteers to give him a ride to the place where he can catch a train or something. And he starts to kind of really fall for Judy on that car ride back. And he ends up not leaving, and he ends up coming back. But this is that little trip where he thinks he's going to go back to New York, and Judy Garland is taking him, back to the train station from the all-boys school.
Nice day, isn't it? Nice day yesterday. What do you think the chances are for tomorrow? Say, you by any chance aren't related to Harpo Marx, are you?
There's something I have to tell you, and if I don't tell you, I'm going to hate myself.
I'll bet you'd be the only one.
You are the most precocious, overconfident, spoiled young man I've ever had the misfortune to meet.
I think you're cute, too.
And as an added attraction, you're a quitter. Well, you've been eating strawberry ice cream with a silver spoon in a nice fat college for such a long time that the minute you get out here amongst plain people, you run for cover.
Now, wait a minute. Now it's my turn. Did anyone ever tell you that you've got a face like a 2-week vacation with pay? Did anyone ever tell you that you've got a nose cute enough to write a song about? Did anyone ever tell you that when a girl like you starts talking about a fella like me, it means only one thing, that you're falling madly in love with him? Did anyone ever tell you that a fella in my state of mind is apt to kiss a girl in your state of mind?
I dare you.
You what?
I double dare you.
Double?
You did it.
I did? Why, it's funny. I didn't even notice. Have some pity on an Easterner. Show a little sympathy. No one possibly could be sterner than you have been with me. There's a job that I'm applying for. Let me put it to you thus. It's a partnership I'm dying for, Mr. and Mrs. Us. Now before you file it on the shelf, let me tell you of myself. Oh, I'm the chappie to make you happy. I'll tie your shoesies and chase your bluesies. Oh, lady, would you? Oh, lady, could you use me? Now I'd shake the mat out and put the cat out. I'd clean the garret and feed the parrot. Oh, lady, would you? Oh, tell me, could you use me? Now, do you realize what a good man you're getting in me? I'm no Elker Mason or Woodman who gets home at 3. The girls who see me grow soft and dreamy, but I'm a gander who won't philander. Oh, could you use me? 'Cause I certainly could use you.
There's a chap I know in Mexico who's as strong as he can be, eating nails and drinking Texaco. He is the type for me. There is one in California, more romantic far than you. when he sings hot shot, shot Shornia, I often think he'll do. But as for you, sir, I'm afraid you will never make the grade. For you're no cowboy, you're soft and how, boy, I feel no muscle. It's fit for tussle. I must refuse you. I cannot use you. Excuse me. No nightlife for you. The birds would bore you. The cows won't know you. A horse would throw you. You silly man, you. To ask me, can you use me? Huh. Though at love you may be a wizard, I'm wanting to know. Could you warm me up in a blizzard? Say 40 below. Your ties are freakish, your knees are weakish. You're not a sender, you elbow bender. Though you can use me, I most certainly can't use you.
There you have it, Clarke. Thanks for staying all the way to the end.
Thank you, Larry. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Coach. We'll talk later. Thank you so much, Clarke. All right, everybody. That brings us to the close of another show. I want to thank my guest, Clarke Wilson, for joining us tonight on short notice, and it was a real treat. And I want to thank all of you for hanging in there with us and supporting us tonight. Next week, not quite sure who my guest is. I'm working on it, and I don't have the official word yet, but I'm hoping that it's going to be a yes, and it'll be a really good guest for us. In any case, remember to always, continue to follow your dreams, keep pursuing your goals, just like I'm still chasing my dreams, still chasing those rainbows. Until next week, I'm Larry Megan. Peace, love, and all good things.
Chill with Larry Megan.